Welcome to Moments with Marianne. I'm so delighted we're spending this time here today. We have a very empowering show coming right up with special guest Leigh Mercree, and she's here today to talk with us about her new book, The Mood Book: Crystals, Oils, and Rituals to Elevate Your Spirit. Now, Amy is a best-selling author of 11 books. She's a speaker and holistic health expert. She teaches internationally, sharing Meet Your Guides, Bestseller Bootcamp, and Goddess Shamanism classes. Amy has been featured in Glamour Magazine, Women's Health, INC Magazine, The Huffington Post, Your Tango, Soul and Spirit Magazine, Mind Body Green, CBS, NBC, Hello Giggles, Reader Digest, and many more. So let's welcome to the show, Leigh Mercree.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Oh my goodness, what a pleasure it is that we get to do this again. I always love talking with you about your new books.
Me too. I always love coming and getting to chat with you. It's always so uplifting and fun.
Oh my goodness. Well, you write books just for that. So anytime anyone needs like a hand up or feels like they need to get better in touch with their heart or their health, you really have all that squared away. And now we've got this new one called The Mood Book. And I'm so excited to be talking about that with you today.
Yes, it's such a fun book to share because it has so many rituals and different bath meditations and just all kinds of fun stuff. So it's an especially fun book to get to chat with you about.
Well, why don't you share with our listeners what inspired you to write this book? Because, I mean, gosh, we know you've got many best-selling books. So I'm just always curious, like, what inspires authors to write their next one? And this one's a good one.
That's a great question. The Mood Book is kind of like your own mood ring in literary form. So it's a book to take you from different moods, like, let's say, anxiety to peace, lethargy to vitality, sadness to joy, fear to freedom, heartbreak to love. So I wrote it specifically really to uplift people and as a fun way to bring together oils, crystals, plant medicine, types of meditation, yoga poses, bath rituals. It has a lot of guided meditations just to bring all of those tools that can uplift us together into one place.
Well, and I noticed you start the book off with turn worry to peace. And gosh, don't we need that now? You know, it seems like everyone we talk to, they're stressed out, they're worried. You know, is the planet going to be okay? Are we going to be okay? You know, the boss is yelling. People are losing their minds. So I really like how you start off the book with that because it talks about how to bring people from that place of anxiety to kind of this state of inner peace.
Absolutely. I just taught a meditation class earlier today, and we were talking about that. I kind of start off, and everybody kind of says, you know, how they're doing and where they're at, and everybody basically was saying they felt like they didn't have enough time in the day, and they felt anxious. They felt like they were overwhelmed by life. And that is one of the top things that I do hear from people, and I attribute that to the fact that we're on our smartphones all the time. You know, if you think 10 or 15 years back, our lives are very different. We weren't on the phone all the time, seeing disturbing news in real time, keeping up with, double, triple, quadruple the amount of people that we used to. And we weren't so busy. So people are worried. We live in a culture of worry now, and a lot of it's based upon the fact that we're so keyed up, and looking at screens is not giving us the rest and the peace that we need and deserve. So that's why we had to start with that epidemic.
Well, I'm so glad that you did because, gosh, it is an epidemic, and every time we look at the news, there are new reports coming out about how people are becoming more stressed by their phones, even with the alarms that go off, that we hit the snooze thinking, just get a few more minutes of sleep when it's really putting us in that fight and flight kind of syndrome. And
Yeah.
so you got these things in here that are so great. Like, I would love for you to share a little bit about what a tranquility crystal is, because I think everyone's going to want to have one.
Sure. So that's just a really nice, easy list. And you can see, because you have the book, Marianne, it's so colorful and rainbow and pretty. The design team at Sterling, my publisher, just did a spectacular job. So the Tranquility Crystal just kind of lists out the different types of stones or crystals that can help calm us. One of my absolute favorites for everything, really, but especially, to bring calm and peace to the heart, is rose quartz. That's like my favorite, my personal favorite crystal or gemstone. But you can use smoky quartz and citrine for tranquility. Larimar is a beautiful, beautiful stone that is associated with dolphins and kind of that loving vibration. It's sourced quite a bit in the Dominican Republic, so it has kind of that nice Caribbean vibration. That's a beautiful crystal to use for tranquility as well. So lots of options. Topaz is a very calming crystal in many of its different forms, all different colors.
Well, and it's so great because you can choose any of these and start working with them, and you go through that in your book. And you mentioned this a little bit earlier. You talk about the oils and essential oils and which ones would be soothing for anxiety. And there were some on here that I was surprised. I was like, wow, okay, I didn't know that one did this,
Yeah, there are some that would definitely surprise you. Obviously we know lavender is a great one. Chamomile oil is an absolute powerhouse for soothing anxiety. But so is Lang Lang, which people think of as kind of an aphrodisiac, and it is, but Lang Lang is a great sleep aid as well. So that's something you wouldn't know. Same thing with sandalwood. It's a little bit musky, so people think of it as a little bit more sensuous, and it is, but it's also very relaxing. Vetiver is a really kind of a unique oil. It has a unique scent, and it also really helps for relaxation. It's a strong smelling oil, so you just need a little bit. Same thing with frankincense oil. Also relaxing. Frankincense actually is spectacular for a wide variety of ailments, including good to use for joint pain. So there's a lot we can do with essential oils, and certainly for alleviating that anxiety and promoting relaxation.
Oh gosh, I'm sure everyone starts with that chapter and kind of gets lost there for a few days.
Yeah.
Well, and one of the things I really appreciate, because in your book, you've got these things where they'll ask you questions, just kind of so you can gauge your own level of stress. And then based on that, it's got it gives you some really good ideas of okay, well, if your score is 10 to 12, then this is, suggested what you should, use 2 drops of sandalwood oil. And so it gives you a really good idea of how to move yourself when you're finding yourself maybe super stressed or maybe less stressed, what you can do to kind of move forward.
It does, and then we have some nice recipes too, so that can be kind of fun, I think, especially as we have a sleep ritual in there as well, but especially as just an additional sleep ritual. If you were to make our lavender body oil, or there's a lotion for sleep, or these different things, and bring that in as part of a bedtime ritual or as a ritual where you wind down. These are ways where we can bring more relaxation and peace into our lives and turn down the volume on all that noise and stress of the day.
Yeah. Well, and it's such a timely book because people are looking for ways that they can remove those negative, impacts in their life and really replace them with some positive rituals that kind of move their life forward in a positive direction,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why I broke it down into changing those moods. So, we talked about the worry to peace, but then there's sadness to joy, there's heartbreak to love, there's fear to freedom, and there's lethargy to vitality. And each one has a really nice bath ritual, which is, a full recipe and a whole process that you do. And then they also have an additional ritual. Those were really fun to create because they contain a yoga pose. They contain all kinds of different aspects to bring you into that state, to shift your mood in a way that feels creative and works on a lot of levels.
Mm-hmm. Well, and when you were developing the topics for the mood book, were you finding that people were coming to you and saying, you know what, I feel anxious, or like how you're saying, I just, I'm not getting a restful sleep, or,
Mm-hmm.
And is that how these topics were developed, just based off of a lot? Because I know you work with so many people, like that feedback you were getting.
Definitely. I mean, these are top things that people deal with. And my work as a medical intuitive and holistic health expert, like you said, I work with lots of people, as a coach and an intuitive. And so I get the amazing privilege of getting to hear what's going on in people's lives. And absolutely, I mean, these are the top things. We've all had our hearts broken. We all get sad at times for various reasons. We all get worried. We all feel fear. We all feel lethargy even. And so I wanted to take those top things and help you transform them, with proactive, conscious, fun things that you can do, and to take control of your mood and your life, really. Because we are the architects of our lives. We can create them, but we need to take conscious action to do so.
Well, and, there's so many tips here. Like this one here, I actually did this, is make your own linen spray, which I love. So you have a lavender oil one. Yeah, and, it makes such a difference when you're, like, looking for peaceful sleep, because I know a lot of us, maybe we work too much or don't get enough sleep or whatever the case may be, and that really impacts your day.
It does. It does. I have a lavender linen spray, too. I spray in my room quite a bit. Yeah, it does impact your day. And simple things like aromatherapy can help you get a better quality rest and get better sleep. And that does impact your day if you're not rested.
Well, and you touched on this just a little bit ago, and I'd love for you to share a little bit more for our listeners. You talked about turning sadness to joy. So how is that possible with the mood book?
So we're looking at tools, essentially. So this book is about what are the tools to help us do that. And we have the oils, we have the crystals, and then we also talk about the plants and herbs that will help you do that. So sadness to joy, one of my favorite options for that is actually rose petals. So that's something, you can find. It's best and pretty much necessary that you use organic roses so you don't have a pesticide residue. But you can find some roses of any color that you'd like, really, and you can make a rose petal tea and drink that. And you can also get, rose tea anyways, but you can also take a rose petal bath. These are really easy, wonderful ways. And other herbs, for example, that would help lift your spirits from sadness to joy. Another favorite of mine is passion flower. So you can get passion flower tea. It's a natural antidepressant. It's also really good for anxiety, but it helps change sadness to joy because the spirit of the plant holds that vibration. And if you're incredibly fortunate, I used to live in Hawaii years ago, I don't now, but we would have actual passion fruit, which contains the passion flower on property, in which case you could also eat the passion fruit. We can work with oils, with crystals, with plants, and bring things together to shift our mood. Another great herb for sadness to joy is oat straw, which is perfect in a tea, and it's incredibly helpful for women for PMS. It promotes general balance. It promotes progesterone production, which helps balance out estrogen dominance for a lot of women. So these are things you can regulate your mood chemically using herbs, but also through the aromatherapy, through the crystals, through the baths, through the rituals. It gives you all of these tools.
I'm so glad that you shared that, because a lot of times when people think of rose petals, they don't really understand what other things can be done. And, like you were saying, there are teas with them. You can take a bath with them. And it really, the flower has so many components to it. And I was really surprised when I was reading your book. It has over 300 chemical, kind of components to the rose itself. And we only know about, I think it was 100 of them. I'm like, wow, that's pretty impressive.
Roses are just a powerful, powerful remedy. We can take rose tincture. We can use rose for perimenopause symptoms, menopause symptoms, PMS, general menstrual symptoms, menstrual cramps, heartbreak, opening your heart to love. They enhance meditation. Rose hips, which are the fall, the autumn part of the plant that comes into being after the plant has bloomed in the summer. Then the rose hips come out like the fruit, and that's where the seeds that had been underneath the flower kind of get bigger, and the fruit gets larger. The pith of the rose hip, so we don't eat the seeds, but that is the highest vitamin C food on the planet as well. Roses are an absolute powerhouse.
Yeah, so much with them. My goodness.
And they're beautiful.
They're beautiful. And who doesn't love roses, right?
Every color, too,
Of course you have to have every color. Come on. But it's nice for people to know. So, if you're at a place at like a Whole Foods or Sprouts or one of those type of stores where you can get organic teas and stuff like that, you can start looking for some of these components. You can look for the rose tea, or the
absolutely.
Rose. Yeah, and it kind of adds to all that.
Yes, and there's a rose Tulsi tea, which is the holy basil herb, which is great for stress. It's an adrenal adaptogen. There's a rose version of that has rose in it. And you can also, if you find organic roses and you can also get the roses, display them for a while, pull the petals off, make a tea, and then throw the rest in your bath. And you can throw the seeds in your bath, too. And then it's kind of a goddess bath, and you're bringing that vibration of the plant spirit into your field in a really beautiful way.
Well, and I'm so glad you mentioned that, because when we look at energy, we're energy. Everything we are surrounded with is energy. It's going to have its own vibration. And having that, kind of impact our energy and help us get to another vibration, hey, that's great.
Absolutely, and that's the magic of plant medicine. It's not only the molecular components and the way that our body breaks them down if we consume them, but it's the spirit of the plant working with us, connecting with us in the way that impacts our own electromagnetic frequency.
Yeah. Well, in your book, you talk about this ritual that I was very interested in, and it's sovereignty ritual. And I'd love for you to share a little bit more about that, because when I read it, I'm like, oh, I like this. This is actually pretty cool.
That's great. Yeah, that's, that was inspired by my clients, by all these women who are beginning to claim their sovereignty, meaning they are ruling their lives. They're the queens of their lives. And they've, young or old, whether this is, new to them or something they've been practicing for a long time, women are moving into this in greater volume and greater quantity. And it's not about being exclusionary toward men either, and this would apply for men too, but it's about women claiming they are the queen of their lives, and it's not, and they may rule their lives with a king who's an equal partner, but they aren't subservient to a guru or a authority figure. They own their space, and their life is their domain. And that stance it's in the chapter, Turning Fear to Freedom. It's a major part of facing our fears and still owning them, owning our space, owning our lives. And so this ritual is about solidifying that energy in your body and understanding that idea and really internalizing it. Because this idea of sovereignty, it's true freedom. It's your power. And even though you may still feel fear, you are sovereign, and so you have that inner pillar of strength and power from which you can draw. So it has the ritual itself has a physical component, as you saw. We stand in a certain posture. It's kind of called power posing. There was a trend, people were into power posing a little bit in the last couple of years, and it's basically, standing with your feet wide, standing or sitting with your feet wide and with your hands on your hips, taking up a lot of space. And they did some testing, and that was clinically proven in these tests to lower your cortisol, and so to reduce your stress and thereby allow you to feel empowered. And if you think about, people who appear powerful, they do take up space sometimes. They sit with their feet wide, or they have their hands out, and they take up space. So we do that, and I take you through that in the ritual. You say some affirmative statements about owning your life and being sovereign of your life and creating it according to your heart's desires. Because that's really what it's about, is you're sovereign and you're creating your life. So we do that, and then you sit down and you get into something that that's been shared to me by my guides for many years. I think the first time I learned this phrase from my guides, it was maybe 2003, and it's proper universal alignment. And so it's about lining your energy up from top to bottom. You would picture it like having a really straight spine, but it's everything clicking into place and being into correct alignment. And then we do a yoga pose for strength after that. And then you're bringing yourself out of this as you go through the ritual, really feeling like the queen, a benevolent, beloved queen or king of your life. And then you even journal about it too after. So it's a really powerful ritual.
Well, it really has people stepping into their own personal power within their life, because if we look at ourselves as, here we are the kings and queens of our own life, or the gods or goddesses of our own life, it's very difficult then to get into a sense of you get into any kind of victim mode. You're able to say, hey, I'm the captain of my ship. I'm going forward. This is what I'm doing. And there's a lot of personal confidence and self-empowerment that comes with that.
Mhm. Exactly. And I think that is one of the key tools that we can use as we face these new frontiers where we are on our phones. We have, fast-paced society, fast-paced media. And as conscious women or men, too, we're making strides. This year seems to be about women really stepping forward, making bigger strides and owning our voices. And so this idea of owning our power, it's time for this now.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I think it's what women and just people have been really craving, is getting into their own personal power. and being able to move, with grace and just kind of like loving compassion through that,
Absolutely. And I kind of like that a ritual like that is just kind of like unobtrusively tucked away in a super pretty rainbow color book. That's kind of a fun way to do it.
Well, you have lots of really good pieces like that are tucked in this book. I mean, we could spend hours, having a conversation, not even touch the tip of the iceberg on this, and I think I have time for maybe like one more question here because I've got a lot. But, one of the things I think a lot of people, we've kind of covered like lack of sleep, and when we talk about personal happiness, another thing that people, that at least I know, they seem to go, gosh, I just feel like I have no energy. I feel like I'm just being zapped of my energy. And you have a chapter that addresses that.
I do, and we have oils to increase vitality, crystals, plants, flowers to increase vitality. And we also have a really fun, we have a ritual, a sparkle ritual, and we also have a really fun energy boosting bath as well. And so for each of these moods, we have a bath ritual, and I don't know, I love baths. I don't know about you, but with our energy boosting bath, the whole idea is to increase your vitality. And even though you may do this at night, I mean, I think that's kind of the time people usually would take a bath, unless it was maybe the weekend. Even if you did this before bed, it's not that it would jazz you up and you couldn't sleep, but it's about refilling your tank in a way that's for long term. So your tank of vitality. So we use clear quartz, amethyst, moonstone, and howlite if you can get your hands on it in this bath ritual. And then we use clary sage and frankincense oil. And you use a purple candle and some fresh ginger and raw honey and some lemon and some mugwort. So it's a really, it's kind of an extensive bath ritual. You make a specific beverage with some of these ingredients. You put some herbs and oils in your bath. You light your candle. You have your crystals in your bath. And then you use some affirmative statements, and you do a little bit of a journaling activity as you get in. You write down a affirmation that you're kind of having as your intention for the bath. And it can be, I embody strength, or I enliven my vitality with ease, whatever it is. You light your candle and you hold your different stones in a specific way and move them over your body to really invoke the essence. Like, for example, the moonstone, we move it over the light of the candle, and then you move it over your body as it's embodying this energy, and you let it fill your solar plexus and part of your abdomen. So you're letting that energy come in, and you're moving any stagnant energy in your body. So anyways, we do the ritual is long and beautiful, and I just love writing these kinds of things because this is the kind of stuff that I think can enliven that vitality for you, let's say, for the whole next week. So you really banked a little bit of time and self-care, and it pays large dividends.
No, without a doubt. I mean, we're not going to cover it, but you have one that's called the Sparkle Ritual to start your day, and I love this one. It's towards the end of the book, and I think it's such a great way to kind of refocus and shift your day's energy. And, it's interesting. A lot of people may think, well, that's going to take a lot of time, and it really doesn't. To be able to get into these mindsets and start these practices where you're like, hey, I'm setting the tone for my day.
Yes, exactly. And that's a conscious action. I mean, you take an extra 5 to 10 minutes and you change your day significantly by doing so.
Well, gosh, Amy, we could talk for hours. I mean, talking is not something we have a problem with. Where can our listeners connect with you and learn not only about the Mood Book, but all of the books that you've written?
They can find me on my website, amyleighmercree.com. So AmyLeighMercree.com. And I'm very active on Instagram, so you can always find me at Amy Leigh Mercree on Instagram too, and on all the social channels. So I'm pretty easy to find if you just use my name. Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm following you on Instagram, and you post some amazing things. The book, The Mood Book, is such a great read. You know, Amy, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show with us here today.
Thank you so much, Marianne. It was a pleasure as always. I'm so honored to be on your show.
Well, it's always such an honor to spend time with you, Amy. I'm so glad we got to do it again. And of course, to talk about your new book, The Mood Book. Again, if you'd like to connect with Amy, you can at her website, amyleighmercree.com, and we'll have the link below. And also, you want to pick up her copy of The Mood Book, which is available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and all indie bookstores. Well, we're at the end of our time today. I would like to thank everyone for tuning in. You're listening to Moments with Marianne. And remember, make every moment count.
In a single moment, your life can change. Moments with Marianne is a transformative hour that covers an endless array of topics with the best of the best. Her guests are leaders in their fields, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, and business and spiritual entrepreneurs. Each guest is gifted and a true visionary, a recognized leader in her own work, and while teaching others to develop, refocus, and grow, Marianne will bring the best guest and sometimes a special surprise. Don't miss this. You never know just which moment will change your life forever. Moments with Marianne airs every Sunday, Monday, Thursday, and Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Make sure to tune in and visit momentswithmarianne.com for more information.